evacuation zone is north of the 210. The Olive View Hospital is the east boundary, does not include the hospital. West up to the 5 and the 14 split. And so that whole area around like the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park, the Silver Springs, that area above the 210 is the mandatory evacuation zone under immediate evacuation. That's where the fire is concentrated at this time.
Have you been hearing anything about, we do know that this is an area that it's a large equestrian community as well. Have you been hearing any problems with people trying to get prepared to evacuate or to take their animals, or just evacuating ahead of this, just in case, being that this is happening during the overnight hours?
We do know there are a large number of specifically horses that have been evacuated. I don't know that people were doing it prior to, because there was no telling where a fire may take place, but there has been a lot of evacuations. I don't have any information saying that anyone's having any particular difficulty in doing so.
Any homes lost in that area?
There are structures damaged, but I do not have a number, and we don't have an assessment of that right now. And
any injuries that you know of with regard to this particular fire in Sylmar?
Not in the Hearst fire. I do not have any injury information.
Mm-hmm. And what about a cause? Do we know anything about where it started and how it may have started?
Not a how. The initial response was to Yarnell and Foothill Boulevard. So that was the area that we initially responded to. But in terms of a cause, no.
And what about firefighter personnel arriving on the scene? I know that, we did the call out earlier for LA City Fire, trying to ask for their off-duty firefighters and personnel to please voluntarily, call your supervisor to see where you could be needed. Do you have a pretty good amount of firefighters who are right here on the front lines of this fire? Should it kind of spread or cause evacuations?
Yes, so we have over 400 firefighters.
The fire department put out a call for off-duty firefighters to come in. Is this something that happens frequently, or is this a very unusual tactic being employed here?
Well, our recall process is well established. However, it's not something that we have to use very often. So it's not typical, no, but it is, an established process. So it's not unheard of, but it's not something that we typically have to do.
Okay, and the response has been robust. Have firefighters been calling in?
Yeah, our Department Operations Center is handling that and providing the staffing, and we do not have a shortage.
Okay.
That's good to know.
All right. So when will some of the air assets be brought to bear that unfortunately have been grounded for much of the day?
I can't provide a time because they're just constantly monitoring the weather. It's purely the winds that are preventing them from being able to fly. We can fly at night, so that's not an issue. It's just the winds. So as soon as they have a window of safety with the winds, then they'll be up flying.
What have you been hearing from, or have you been able to get in contact with any of your firefighters who have been battling these fires and the wind? Because I know that for the reporters who have been out in the field and our photographers who are out in the field, this event has been unlike anything they've ever experienced, and they're very seasoned journalists.
Yeah, this is an extreme wind situation. We anticipated these winds. We knew it was coming. We've been messaging on it, the several days prior to this, asking people to be prepared, to be, as we say, ready, set, go, to evacuate. So it was not unexpected. We had resources augmented and in place prior to, this morning, yesterday morning at this point. So we were prepared, and unfortunately, when we have these kind of winds, this is the most significant of the season, clearly. And where the fire ignited, the location of it in those hills like that is what's just compounding the challenge.
Do you think that you're going to have a lot of arson investigators, obviously, taking a really close look at to what could have, if somebody did this intentionally, or, I know that, in the Jesucita fire in Santa Barbara County many years ago, it was gardeners who clipped a rock with one of their tools. So I know that it could spark by someone who wasn't actually trying to start a fire.
Yes, it often is something like that. We have no information right now on the cause for either of these fires. We do have our investigators assigned to each one, so they will be out collecting whatever information is possible. Sometimes when these start up in the hills, there may not be any evidence. There's no surveillance video. We may not be able to determine, but they will be investigating.
Okay. And do we know whether the ignition point was at Foothill and Yarnell or whether the call came from there? Because I'm looking at pictures of that intersection, and it's, there's a strip mall on one side, looks like some houses on the other corners. So have we been able to clarify the exact kind of point at which the fire was located when you first encountered it?
I can't provide that precise information. That is what we call the reporting address. So that's where our resources responded to, and then they could see in the hills. So, to the north, the hills to the north of that address.
Okay. And that's past what looks like a freeway overpass, and then to the hills. Okay. LA Fire Department spokeswoman Margaret Stewart, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate the information you've been able to get to us. Godspeed and good luck, and we hope to see the birds up in the air just as soon as possible to help deal with this. Thank you again for everything that you and your department are doing to save lives and property.
Well, we do know that the morning team is turning out right now. We have Irene Cruz, one of our morning Eyewitness News reporters. She is live at the Palisades fire. She's just arriving on scene. Irene, it must be pretty shocking for you to be just turning up and seeing the amount of destruction and the fire that is so active.
Absolutely, Colleen. Good morning. It is really tough to see how much this fire has grown and how devastating it is for this neighborhood out here. We were actually headed towards Palisades Charter High School to see what the scene looked like there, but unfortunately we're stopped here at Sunset and Amalfi because we came across some very active flames. We decided this is not a safe situation to go through. You can see that orange haze just blanketing the sky there, and just a few moments ago we heard a lot of cracking, a lot of crackling, things breaking, and we're not exactly sure what is burning, but it is possible that what's behind me here on fire is a home. And I do want to point out that the wind speeds have really ramped up in the past 20 minutes. I mean, just 20 minutes ago, things were relatively calm. We were just seeing a light breeze, and now that wind is really starting to pick up. And what's a big concern right now is you can see that black plume of smoke moving towards these homes over here. So there is that potential for these flames to catch over here. And I know just moments ago, you can see the wind picking up here, moving us around just a bit. The embers were really going up into the sky, and that was a bit of a danger for this entire neighborhood. The winds again picking up, and this is something we're going to be seeing throughout the morning. Just those gusts pushing all these embers, pushing all that smoke through the area. So really just a devastating scene, and heartbreaking for a lot of the families who are watching this coverage and not knowing exactly what they're going to be coming home to or what we'll be seeing in the next few hours or so this morning. Mark and Colleen.
Well, it is troubling to see that the winds are picking up, but that is kind of what the meteorologists have been predicting, and this is about the time when that was supposed to happen. So you're going to be out there as our eyes and ears to let us know how things are happening out there. In terms of the wind, it is kicking up, right? You're definitely feeling that. Are you seeing any emergency vehicles heading into the area?
Absolutely, the wind is definitely picking up. I'm actually feeling it affecting my eyes right now because it's slipping through the cracks of my protective glasses here. I'm going to have to put on some stronger goggles just to make sure that we are safe. I haven't seen any emergency crews come in through this way. A little farther back, we did see a number of fire trucks that were moving through this area, and they've been handling hotspot to hotspot. So they have just been very mobile around Pacific Palisades, trying to take out any spots that they are trying to prioritize. supplies. So it's really good to see that they are doing that and protecting as many homes as possible. But again, like places like this, where the smoke and the flames are moving so quickly and are a danger for the homes right here, it's going to be very tough for fire crews to spot, hopefully on time. But I mean, this morning and overnight, we've been already seeing some damage to homes. So it has been a difficulty with all of this fast moving wind.
It must be pretty eerie out there. It doesn't seem like a lot of people are moving around.
Absolutely. It definitely feels ominous. It feels eerie. I'm sure a lot of the people here have already evacuated, as we saw yesterday with that chaotic scene of people leaving on foot at one point with luggages, some people abandoning their cars. So in this neighborhood, what we're seeing is some just cars left on the street here. The gates of this home have almost been busted open, probably from the wind overnight. So it does feel incredibly eerie. And what I'm hearing as well is very disconcerting because of the cracking and the breaking of structures that we don't even know exactly what is burning. So that is very troubling to hear and see, and also smell the smoke in the air. It's very hazy, and air quality obviously is very, very bad in this area.
Yeah, I see. I can absolutely see what you're going through. I know that we've had eyewitness news. Our team of journalists have been fanned out everywhere. Jory Rand was in that similar location for several hours, and it was the winds just kind of. They lulled, and now they have been really picking up, and so you be careful out there. And I know that Michelle Fisher, she lost her hat. She was also covered in Malibu, quite a distance away from you. So be careful, because I do know that wind, it can move you and rather quickly and abruptly.
It's interesting too. Jory has been kind of chronicling, or was kind of chronicling, for the last 3 hours or so, as the fire slowly marched in his direction,
right.
Sunset and Amalfi. And it's been something to watch it come closer, and it's getting closer to you now than I think it was to Jory when he was reporting earlier. Leslie Lopez is able to talk to us a little bit about the weather conditions out there right now and how things are shaping up.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is just really tough to watch and see, and we're waking up, and once the sun comes up, we'll be able to see some of this damage. But the windy weather that we're dealing with right now is going to continue forward. We have red flag warnings that are going to continue. Unfortunately, this is a long duration. This is going to go all the way through Thursday. Some of the peak winds, though, are happening now. So if you are wondering how long will the worst of this last, it really is going to be several more hours before the winds calm down, and that really does not happen until we get into about noon. We really need some daytime heating out towards our deserts to calm and back off some of the wind. So again, right around lunchtime, we should see a really big wind velocity reduction. Still looking at 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, gusts upwards of 85 miles per hour. There have been reports over at Burbank Airport, the airport, receiving an 83 mile per hour wind gust. Of course, Palisades, you're looking still at some very active flames in the region. We will get to see the ebb and flow of these winds continue forward for us as we're heading into the next several hours. So again, you'll experience, yes, a little lull for a brief period, but again, there'll be strong gusty winds for several moments after that. And that'll be the case as we get into your afternoon. Now, we move forward after the afternoon, and I would say right beyond lunchtime, we will start to see those winds calm down some. I wish I could say it's done and over with. We're just backing off on the winds. It won't be as strong as where we are right now this morning, but we are still going to look at some wind gusts and still some very dangerous conditions. And so that is why that red flag warning will continue forward all the way through Thursday. Gusts over into areas closer towards the fire that is burning near Sylmar. We're looking at 50 mile per hour wind gusts there. We'll move you over towards the fire that is burning over near Hastings. This is going to be about 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, gusts of about 83 miles per hour to 80 miles per hour. You know, when we talk about this particular area, this is not a Santa Ana wind corridor. Pasadena, Burbank, Glendale, they do not receive the Santa Ana. So this is a very unusual wind event for them. And the reason this has happened, we have these mountain waves that are cresting right over the mountains. There's a little northerly component. We needed that cold air from the storm that brought in some snow for our mountains. So all the components were there to create the opportunity for this interesting wind event that is not often seen through the Pasadena area. And here we are with a fire that is burning just below the foothills. Of course, canyons and foothill areas, the worst places you can see the fire. There's just not much stopping that forward movement and forward progress of the fire. So that continues forward for us here today. And then we also have some very gusty winds continuing onward as we're looking out towards right now. I mean, these are the winds that are happening now. I mean, these aren't forecasted winds. This is the peak wind, 52-mile-per-hour winds out towards the Simi Valley. Howling winds. We have howling winds in Malibu, also out towards areas closer towards, it looks like even Fillmore, about 50-mile-per-hour winds right near the coastline of Malibu, 43-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And there you have it, 50-mile-per-hour winds out towards the Pasadena area. Again, so unusual to even clock that near the area. Very just understating this. I mean, to see an 83-mile-per-hour wind gust at the airport of Burbank, I mean, it just hasn't happened in decades. If that, I mean, that might be a record there. 16-mile-per-hour winds out there in Glendora, 33 out towards Anaheim. We're looking at 32 into Riverside and 36-mile-per-hour winds. So, I mean, it is really gusting too out towards our Inland Empire and then also out towards areas of Orange County. So that coastline also being hit hard with some gusty winds. Now, there is wind that is really just calm and quiet out towards Long Beach. We don't really have much in the way of that, but you head out towards, it looks like, areas closer to Anaheim, and that's really when the winds begin up again. And you'll see that really start to pick up. If you're driving along the 405 or the 5, you make it to Anaheim, then the winds really start to increase again, and then now you're in this wind corridor that's very strong and gusty through San Bernardino out towards Orange County. And then beyond that, we're looking into our desert communities. So again, most of the winds, the timing of this, we don't see a drop off until we get out towards, it looks like, the afternoon. The afternoon, we will start to see some winds quiet down. I wish this was going down to 5 miles per hour, but we're still staying at a pretty high threshold, 22-mile-per-hour winds. We're not in this extreme category, though, where we're seeing 40, 50, 60 at time mile-per-hour wind gusts, but we will see those wind gusts drop down to about 22 to 23 miles per hour later today. And that will, at least the good news is that will permit some of the aircraft that the firefighters have been really holding back on being able to lift and get going because of the very strong and dangerous winds that are out there. John and Rachel, we're going to send it back over your way. But yes, we were talking about 3 separate fires burning right now in Southern California. Over to you.
It's just incredible. Okay, Leslie, thank you. It is 3:03 in the morning and breaking right now, a firestorm across Southern California. 3 major wildfires burning right now, fueled by powerful wind gusts.
Yeah, the first fire breaking out yesterday morning in Pacific Palisades. Close to 3,000 acres have burned so far. The fire forcing thousands of people from their homes, and multiple structures have been lost.
Then a brush fire broke out in Eden Canyon. It has exploded in size, forcing mandatory evacuations in the Altadena area. So far, 1,000 acres have burned.
And a third fire also broke out in Sylmar just hours ago. Evacuation orders are in effect for people in the area north of the 210 freeway. From Roxford Street to the 514 freeway split, people are asked to evacuate now due to rapidly moving wildfire conditions. It's burned about 500 acres so far.
Let's check in now with Jaysha Patel. Jaysha, tell us where you are and what you're seeing.
Right now, Rachel and John, we're at the Pasadena Jewish Center and Temple. You can see right behind me, it is completely on fire. A short while ago, I believe we heard a propane tank, that's what it at least sounded like, pop. This fire is not just isolated to this temple and center here. If we pan over to the other side where we're standing here, you can see to our right that other buildings are also on fire. And you know, this is just kind of the start. I mean, these winds still going to kick up later. And so it's really incredible to see when we first got here, to see so many buildings untouched. And then when we pulled up to this center, it is just completely on fire. The building completely in flames. We can start to see some of the framework in some of the areas. Again, this is a Jewish temple and center here in Pasadena. You know, this storm, the National Weather Service has said that this windstorm is life-threatening and devastating, and that's unfortunate. Out in the next, you get this strong gust and these embers. That's what we're really worried about, because with these embers, and there's so many people, a place that they go to every single week. Your heart just breaks to see a building like this just completely on fire, and to also think about those homes that are on fire. Your heart just goes out to everyone who might have had to evacuate and grab everything that they need. So that's the situation that we're seeing out here. We just arrived on scene here, but I'll send it back to you guys for now.
Okay, Jaysha, thank you.
Yeah, it's devastating what's happening there, but across Southern California, we're seeing these fire conditions. And it's not just the fire. The wind is affecting people driving, too. You know, driving to work today was pretty dangerous.
It was dangerous. And even with the Eden fire, that's near me. I live in Pasadena. Around 6 last night, 6:30, I started to smell that smoke, and I could look out the window and see a glow. Yeah. And I go, oh, gosh.
Yeah, I came in from Santa Clarita. The winds were ferocious. I couldn't even sleep. I just came in early. And just driving through the Newhall Pass, getting knocked around. And I could see the Sylmar fire, and then I could see the Eaton fire. It was like fires kind of popping up everywhere. So, yeah, it's going to be a long day, folks. Irene Cruz is also covering the Pacific Palisades fire for us. Let's check in with her.
Yeah, John, Rachel, good morning. I mean, the wind has really picked up in the past 5 minutes, and embers have been shooting up behind me with this active fire situation. And we see all these visuals, but we also have to remember all the people affected by this fire. And I've actually just come across a resident who lives on the street. This is Frank Barty. Good morning, Frank. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Area for past 25 years and never seen anything like this. And I'm hoping the wind calmed down a little bit, but as you can see, the fire is about 200 or 300 yards away from us.
To really ramp up protection efforts on your... And I've been mentioning that the wind is moving in the direction of your home. What is going through your head right now? Obviously, this is a very concerning situation for you.
You know, there's a lot going on. Honestly, for the past few years, all the insurance companies, they've been canceling the insurance companies and is on. So I'm pretty sure some water here and put out some water.
And you mentioned you've been living here for at least a couple of decades, and you say you've never seen anything like this?
No, it was, the fire was about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, but it was nothing like this. The department will get together, and I see the 0% containment right now is out of control.
And how here this morning?
Yes, I like the authorities to put the politics aside and just be more concerned and be more prepared. For I know that we getting notices, but we need the fire department and the authorities to be more on it. Like I said, we are rich kind of fires, or when it happens, we get on it right away.
All right, Frank, thank you so much for talking with us this morning. We're hoping for the best for your home, the best for your family. Letting up, it's moving in this direction. Are so close to these catch fire next, and we are hoping that families like Frank's who are watching this certainly are able to come back home to their houses still. As he did mention, it's 0% It's 0% contained right now.
Yeah, and
next, we want to check in with Mark Kodaropolis, who is keeping his eye.
Around 7 p.m., the winds were ferocious. It was just incredible. But the winds were so strong that inside my house, the panels to the attic were blown off inside the house at the peak of the wind. It was just incredible, very frightening. We got the kids evacuated, so they've left the area. Of course, schools for Pasadena Unified canceled for tomorrow, and just absolute devastation that we're witnessing here in Upper Hastings Ranch. This is specifically at the top of Hastings Ranch Drive and Star Touch Drive. We've been throughout address on this home here to our right, that garage kind of falling apart just a bit. I mean, obviously the home is a total loss, but firefighters were doing their best to reduce the flames burning nearby. Do not go up in smoke as well. We're watching the winds, we're watching the embers. It is a dynamic situation. All night I've been telling our viewers, one of the resources. There's just not enough. Everything spread so thin across Southern California, and even on this fire as well. One resident just drove by maybe 10 minutes ago. He said he came by to get some medication, and he said, "Where's Arcadia? Where's Temple City?" Meaning, where are those firefighters to help here? We have seen mutual aid. I saw Laverne. I saw some other fire departments, mostly LA County Fire. Here on scene. So they're all, I think he was frustrated seeing how many homes here in this immediate area, and he was just kind of at a loss for words and went back down elevation than the rest of Pasadena. We're getting water sprayed on us right now as they're trying to get this house, of course. For people who have evacuated, I don't want to spread too much in this immediate neighborhood. In fact, homes north of Alegria seem to be most at risk. That's where we've seen the most just acting. We do know the warning was there with the red flag conditions, the high winds, low humidity, and incredibly dry. It was a recipe for disaster. I got to tell you, though, I'll say it again and repeat myself, I have never seen a fire like this in Pasadena since I have lived here. John and Rachel, I'll send it back to you.
Mark and I are neighbors. I live in Pasadena as well, and I have to say it's one thing to see a fire on TV. It's another when you see it in your community, your neighborhood, and it's a humbling and terrifying experience. Like I said, I was looking out the window and I saw time I smelled the smoke. Like Mark, I could feel the wind inside of my home, and I evacuated my dog, but it is absolutely terrifying, and yeah. I really have no words.
Yeah, and Mark, I was covering it, and we all kept saying, let's hope there's not a fire. And we really out there. Thank you. Get some rest, and we'll try and check back with you a little later. We want to go to Jaysha Patel. She's also...
We were on the side that is just completely on fire. The other side, it looks like it has completely burned down, almost like a bomb has gone off. If I step out the way, you can just see the building that are still standing, literally creaking as the wind has been blowing in this area. I'm not quite sure if these are propane tanks or what's popping inside, but you can see what looks like might possibly be a classroom or something at this center. It is still burning inside, and so this situation is just picking up. It's different every single minute that goes by because these flames and these embers just keep fire trucks that we're looking at in this parking lot. We can hear the fire alarms going off. The fire is still very much, people come here every single week to pray, and to see all of this rubble basically just on the ground is just absolutely heartbreaking. Of course, you can literally hear the building and the aluminum creak, and so that's basically the situation out here that we're seeing. And of course, again, firefighters doing a great job trying
to expect the strongest winds. Is that still the same?
Yeah, that's still the same. We're seeing some peak winds right now. A couple of components that are really here about your lunch hour today. Dealing with some of the strongest winds I've ever seen in Pasadena. We'll do that in a moment. We have red flag warnings, unfortunately, that are going to continue all the way through Thursday. The reason why we have to hang on to the wind, at least the red flag warning portion, warmer temperatures coming around, even though some of the winds will be backing off. All right, we're looking out towards some of the wind speeds that we've been clocking here just as of the last few hours, maybe the last 2 hours here. 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, gusts of about 85 miles per hour. I've never seen an 83 mile per hour gust in Burbank. I was checking the National Weather Service earlier about that today. And then we're heading over into areas of, it looks like the Eaton fire. This is over near Silmar, 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, gusts of about 50 still. And then we push you over into the Pasadena area. And this is where we have the fire burning near Hastings. And this is 20 to 30. Look at the gusts there. 80 mile per hour wind gusts. Just awful to see the winds here in the Pasadena area. Why is this happening in this particular spot? This is a very unusual spot to have some very strong gusty winds. The reason being, we have what we call mountain waves that don't often occur here in Southern California. But when we have mountain waves cresting at 90, 100 miles per hour at the tops of the mountains, and we have what we call, this is an unusual wind towards Pasadena right now. 44 as you're heading into Thousand Oaks. It's 43 mile per hour winds into Malibu. I mean, these are really strong winds, and just noticing that they're not letting up. And that's the problem. We still have several more advice we can give you at this point, just much higher than that. And then over into San Bernardino, Riverside, you're looking at 36 to 32 mile per hour wind gusts. To Palisades, I just want to give you an idea of how these forecasting models will look. Most of the winds stay strong all the way through about 1 o'clock through the Pacific Palisades area before they drop off some. Now, again, I'm telling you that there is going to be a wind reduction. However, you're not looking at a huge drop off. I mean, we're still down about 22 miles per hour. This will have Pasadena. This is one of the closer meters, but I opponent, then the winds are really gusting, which is where we are for the next several hours. But hoping that right around we'll just shut off the wind supply for the Pasadena area. We have low pressure that's moving out towards the Gulf of California. It's going to be moving out towards the east. With it, it's going to take away that. And Thursday, things are much calmer. The strongest of the wind down through most of the next day or two into Thursday, at least Thursday night into Friday. That's really when most of this ends. But we're going to go from 40 miles mile-per-hour wind gets to 25 by tomorrow, and then dropping on Southern California. And so this is really the situation that we're having to deal with. We have Santa Anas that come through. There's no more. We enter another Santa Ana. I will say that the one that's approaching on Tuesday, though, we can call that one a moderate Santa Ana. This one is strong to extreme. 72 degrees. For you, but once the winds shift a little bit more this morning to northeast, you'll be starting to feel those very strong gusty winds in your Long Beach area through Seal Beach. 67 degrees for the beaches there, 69 as we're heading into your Thursday, and then also some gusty winds return to some of our beach locations on Tuesday. We push you out towards the desert communities today. It's 58 degrees, 60 on your Thursday, 60 on Sunday, 62 degrees.
Volvita Recreation.
And we have a map up to give you a big picture view of what we're dealing with right now. Like it's burning in the hills above Sylmar, which is in that right now. A lot of evacuations, people being told to get out of the way. We have seen a lot of area here. This is the Riviera Country Club. This is an area I never would have expected to be threatened by a wildfire, but it is burning down into this area. And this is where Irene Cruz is located, right along Sunset here. To give you a sense, to prepare, if you need to get out of the way, obviously you're going to have to move. And so a big area impacted by that. And then taking a look at the Eaton fire here, Altadena's here, Pasadena's here, Sierra Madre, and it is burning into this area here, burning right down into here, golf course here. And this is New York Drive, to give you a sense, and the Highland areas where Mark was located over here. There are a lot of homes seeing what we're dealing with.
In this immediate community of Upper Hastings Ranch, you see this home right here behind me. We are on Valley Lights Drive here in this area. We've been roaming the streets, checking the area. There is devastation on multiple of these streets, all of them mainly north of Alegria for people who know the area for evacuees. Give a shout out to the fire crews on scene, the mutual aid you see here, Riverside County, San Marino, city of Moreno Valley on scene, and lost. With this one, you see just the chimney standing. I am in the driveway of this home, and then across the street you can see the facade of a large front entrance to that home. 3815 Valley Lights gone in this fire. Absolutely devastating. The winds, they come and go. I want to say that they were more sustained earlier in the evening. They started to die down, but then once again, even the last really concerning, the embers blowing up, the concern of more homes catching on fire. The good thing, not seeing residents here in the area. Embers now blowing our way. You may be able to see that. I'll turn my back as the embers move this way. We haven't really seen many residents in the area. It does seem that a large majority, nearly all of them, heeded the evacuation warnings and got out in a real hurry. You got to imagine there was a lot of chaos when that happened around 7 p.m. This is just east of Eaton Canyon and the Eaton Canyon Golf Course. Again, not clear exactly how many homes have been lost. We'll get that figure, whether it's later today or in the days to come when they do that assessment. But absolute devastation. Never have I seen something like this in Pasadena. And you think about Pasadena being on the map for the Rose Parade, and now just, more than 1 week since we were in the national worldwide spotlight, a major fire impacting so many families here in the city. John and Rachel will send it back to you.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Yeah, as we've all been talking about how we've never seen winds so big, so ferocious in the Pasadena Altown on the street. I'm seeing trees down, the palms down, and I think we're in big trouble because we haven't even hit peak winds yet.
Even yesterday morning here in Glendale at the station, a large tree came down. And, we see wind here occasionally, but nothing like this. So, yeah, it's really scary to watch unfold. And as you've been saying, we're really in the peak of it now. So it's even more severe than it was yesterday when those winds started picking up. We have some video from residents being evacuated. This is up in the Eaton Canyon area. These are seniors being rescued or evacuated from that area. You can see a lot of people disabled, having trouble getting out on their own, and firefighters and personnel helping them. This is it looks like the terraces at Park Marino, where people are being evacuated, quite a few people too.
And how scary it must be. The visibility is down, it's windy, it's dark.
Air quality's terrible, can't breathe. Yeah, it's a terrifying situation for those residents, but we're told everybody out safely, which is certainly good to hear.
a freight train is coming through the trees here. Like here comes another one. You can hear it kind of building as it starts. And then these winds.
That is completely untouched right now in the middle of another home where there are flames sparking up.
They got canceled from their fire insurance. So they're dealing.
Here comes one of these gusts we're talking about. Yep, these things are so strong. I have covered a lot of fire.
Big embers here. And then right off to our left, this tree now has just gone up, so I'm a bit concerned about this home as well, that is on the corner of Pear Orchard. But back to the left, this home, just a total loss.
Just a really tough situation as we've been covering this all night. I know all of the reporters on the ground have seen some pretty difficult images. I was telling my photographer as we drove through this part of town, I was like, wow, I think I'm going to get emotional. And just kind of garages, and you wonder what family lived there, what items are they leaving behind and coming back to.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, devastating.
I've never seen anything like it, and this is becoming too frequent.
Yeah.
Every time.
This is our second big fire in, what, a month and a half. We had the mountain fire just a few weeks ago right now.
Emergency shelters are open.
Those animals can do and how to keep them safe. Up in the Eaton Canyon area.
Center and the temple still on fire. It has been on fire. You may be able to see flying and reigniting other parts. And so you can see the roof completely on fire. We can see some of the framework buildings around this center also on fire. Not sure if this is a part of the center, but it does look like it is part of the Jewish center here. And so
Jasha, thank area already,
Yeah.
you know, just.
Yeah, we're just checking in with you. We're really in the same area, but for viewers who are just tuning in, we know people are really the only thing standing here beyond the driveway of the home. Absolute devastation here in the Upper Hastings Ranch community. I'm a resident of Pasadena. We were initially evacuation warning. I just got a message from the public information officer from the city of Pasadena, and I do believe they are expanding evacuation warnings, or excuse me, evacuation orders for the city of Pasadena down south to the 210 freeway. A fear that this fire actually could move west. According to the alert that I got, there's even concern for the Chevy Chase Canyon area all the way over to La Cañada because of this fire and possible embers. So we're going to go over that information and try to clarify and make sure we're giving the best update. But certainly Pasadena Fire concerned about the situation, concerned about the wind, and that evacuation orders are expanding. That is according to Pasadena Fire Chief Chad Augustine. It is windy still, gusty at times. Firefighters and mutual aid arriving on scene. In fact, I just spoke to one Riverside County firefighter who said that they were watching us on TV, wondering if they would get the call. And they said, I saw you on TV, and here we are now, hours later. So resources are coming in despite frustration from some people I've spoken to, wondering where are all the firefighters? Not enough resources to go around. So that is the consensus. That is the attitude around here. A lot of people have left, most everyone who has, but people who are still here wondering where is all the help, frustrated at the situation.
I think we're getting some video of Palisades High School to break out. It started yesterday and quickly moved through those expensive neighborhoods, beautiful neighborhoods that you just don't expect to see go up in flames like this. But many, many homes have been lost, and now you're seeing even the local high school has been, boy, it looks like quite a bit of damage. I don't want to say it's been destroyed, but several buildings clearly have been burned completely. And firefighters have quite a struggle on their hands because we still have this wind for several more hours to go.
And that Pacific Palisades fire, nearly 3,000 acres burned so far, 0% containment. As John was just saying, obviously homes, multiple structures damaged, destroyed, as we're seeing in this video. Thousands of people under mandatory evacuation orders, evacuation warnings issued in part of Santa Monica. And there are evacuation shelters in place for anyone who is impacted by this fire. This is the Pacific Palisades fire. You can go to on Valley Circle Boulevard, but how terrifying these images are.
Just incredible.
You know, it's also in the insurance companies, and is only a California FELP plan that is available here. So I'm pretty sure all this half of these houses, they do not have any insurance or any, they're underinsured. And we're hoping that in the morning that planes can come in and just drops.
There are no helicopters, no fixed-wing aircraft flying over these fires. It's all on the ground, and that is like fighting a fire with your hands tied behind your back in these incredibly windy conditions.
Yeah, John, we've actually moved locations because we wanted to give you a better vantage point, better perspective of what we're really pick up. We're seeing more and more of those gusts. As you can see here, the fire crews have been working very hard, and there's multiple different areas around Pacific Palisades. But again, this pool of water from what they used earlier, mixed with debris that has been knocked over from those gusty winds overnight, has just made such a mess here on Sunset Boulevard. But wow, it has been a tough fight for those firefighters out there. Again, let's show you some more visuals of what we're seeing. Oh, that is a big gust of wind. And something I do want to show you is how quickly embers are moving. I don't know if I can get a good vantage point. Maybe, Jared, could you follow me this way around and see if we can show them how active these embers have been this morning. Take a look at that. Look at how fast they're moving just across the ground. You could probably hear the wind pick up off of the microphone. But just imagine any one of those embers catching on to some nearby brush or trees and then sparking a whole new fire. So this is a very fluid situation. We're seeing things change very quickly, and we're certainly keeping an eye on things in terms of wind speeds and which structures are burned. I mean, just on the way here, I think I saw 4 homes that were a total loss, John and Rachel. So it's been
is really incredible. I have friends on the East Coast, and they ask me what these storms are like, and I tell them it's like a hurricane, except instead of rain, it's fire embers, and it really puts it in perspective because those embers can just land anywhere, and then you have another fire breaking out. It's pretty scary to watch.
And to see that firefighter scooping up the water with the cone.
It's desperate.
Desperate. Irene, thank you. We'll be checking back in. Let's check in now with meteorologist Leslie Lopez.
Winds. I mean, 74-mile-per-hour winds would be the wind gusts that we're seeing, some of them exceeding about 82. Hurricane force 74. So again, we have the very strong gusty winds. When we talk about severe threats, I mean, this is California's severe weather threat. Santa Ana winds. I have a couple cameras that I wanted to show you right now. You can see a glow out there. This is from the LAX airport. You're looking shaped right now. And then this is on our and then all of a sudden you'll have this big burst of wind that lasts a few short minutes, anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, and then it backs off. Now, as we're getting into the afternoon, I do expect to see a big wind velocity drop. The winds will back down. Unfortunately, I can't take out all of the wind. The wind will continue. This our forecasting of some of the winds near our fires. This is over in the Pacific. 30 to 40. We've been seeing gusts about 85 miles per hour. Now that gusts roll through service. Haven't seen it. Cold air. That dynamic produced what we call mountain waves, and all the mountain wave needed was something to push it down into the foothills and down to the valley floor. And unfortunately, we had an area of high pressure on the region that did that. About 80 miles per hour. And so the sinking air is getting pressed down, pushing some of those flames in the wind. Dale, and you know, the Inland Empire, and then this one particularly over into areas of Altadena.
You know, if you pan to where we're standing, you can see also this other area just completely on fire. People getting evacuated in wheelchairs. You know, this fire.
Evacuate now. Rapidly moving fire. Several evacuation shelters for people and
into the one aware. Pasadena. Area, not homes above it.
I believe we have Irene Cruz. Very active morning as you can see, because I've seen